What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I host the only online show in the world for dads and fathers that's sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization. And one other thing I do when I have some spare time, I am the board chair for the Global Food and Drink Initiative. It's a multimedia not-for-profit that's goal is to showcase Blacks in the diaspora that are doing their thing in food, wine, and travel. And as always, remember, you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. We got something epic happening tonight. This is epic happening. We're throwing it down tonight. Now, most people who hang out with us know that most Saturday nights we have State of Things with Aisha and Jill. Well, right now we're broadcasting on July 6th, which is a Tuesday night. Now, why did we push it back? Well, everyone except me, I'm in Canada, was celebrating the 4th of July and all this stuff. There were some other things that Aisha had to travel down to a location where she's at tonight. So we gave it some time. And what I really like is, even though we're just this week doing it on Tuesday, there are people already in the room. So we appreciate that. So we are going to throw it down with State of Things with Aisha and Jill. Plus, we have 2 friends joining us tonight. So we got 4 ladies from the United States that are going to throw it down with all that's going down in the United States. And I'm going to be safe because I have a wall between myself and the United States. So I'm going to be safe tonight. All right. So let's bring on, hey, and what is up, Jen Myers? Thanks. You're going to have a ball tonight. So let's start it off. Let's bring our 2 ladies up to the stage. Aisha and Jill, what's going on?
Hey.
Happy
6th.
Happy. Yeah, you know, oh my gosh. Yes. And after that first story, right? Yes. No, gosh, 6. Oh, no, I don't want to go there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just thought about that. So how you ladies doing?
Pretty good. How was
your 4th?
Low key. I went to a friend's house just for a short moment, and it was nice just to see a couple friends. But you know, I don't really get all crazy over the 4th anymore. You know.
Yeah, the 4th is my dad's birthday, so we did a low key dinner and have his favorite banana cream pie, because my dad's a pie eater, not a cake eater.
Okay.
So yeah, so we just chilled with my dad. So
nice. And Jill, where are you broadcasting from tonight?
I am at home. I mean,
and Aisha, I meant to say Aisha. Where's Aisha broadcasting? Yeah. I just want to make sure that and I think the safest place for Jill is at home, because I don't know what would happen if we let her outside for a prolonged period of time.
Right.
Very true.
Yep. I am in Columbia, South Carolina, visiting my father for a couple of weeks. So
nice. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So you're going to give us some intel on South Carolina?
Oh, maybe over the next couple of weeks, something might happen. You know, Nikki Haley might open her mouth again and stick her foot in.
True. That should happen.
Oh gosh. And it's interesting because one of our friends in the green room, she's going like this when you said that. So look, and you know who you are. If you don't like it now, you can jump off now, because it's going to get crazier. So you got to get all right. She's got her thumbs up, so she's ready for it. So let's bring on each one of our friends. Also, a shout out to Black Beauty. Black Beauty is saying, so glad you guys are on. Missed you guys.
Missed you too.
All right, so we got it going on. So let's bring our first friend on tonight. She has been on before, but it's been a minute. Birdie Lynn, what's going on?
Hi, hello. Thank you so much for inviting me back. I'm happy to be here. I'm Lauren Joyce. I am the co-founder of Birdie Lynn brand and podcast. I am reporting here from Nashville, Tennessee. I'm also seen and heard on the Birdie Lynn brand and podcast, as well as my show on Foodie TV. So I'm really happy to be here for this discussion.
Yes.
It's gonna
Thank you.
Very nice. Great to have you. You always have a place here. And now the lady that was a few moments ago shaking her head, but then put thumbs up. Author Angie, what is up? You're on mute. Or there we go.
I'm here for it. Conversations that I should have been on a long time ago. I'm here for all of it.
Author Angie, share a little bit about yourself with us.
Let me see. I'm a poet, an author, a literacy advocate, and I work with the Read Aloud Initiative, mother of two, the author of You Have an Abuela Too, which is a story a children's book that touches on colorism and hold on, that's my assistant, aka my teenager.
Everyone needs one.
Yes.
An assistant or a teenager?
A teenager.
Okay.
Assistant. They do everything.
Thank you, darling. Thank you. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. Demir. Oh, what did you just do?
A technical support. Okay, there we go.
Okay. So are you able to hear me clearer?
Yeah, we're good. And how many books have you written?
I've only published one thus far, but I have 3 in the chamber that I'm working on illustration and sponsorship deals for currently.
Great.
Yay, congratulations.
Yes.
So this is good. So folks, oh my, oh my, this, if you see me put my screen, on my picture once in a while, you know why already. So just be prepared. So we got Cali, we got South Carolina, we got Tennessee. Angie, where are you based?
Queens, New York.
Oh, wow. We're everywhere.
So we've got 4 different states, 2 different countries happening tonight, folks. This is outstanding. Well, let's get it started. Let's get our first conversation piece up, and it's only going to get crazier going onward. First up, people may not realize it, but today is the 6-month anniversary of the Capitol insurrection. The six months ago today, a group of individuals, and I'll just say that lightly, stormed the American Capitol and tried to usurp the American political system. And it's interesting, if Aisha did not bring this to my attention, I heard a story about it this morning on NPR. I said, oh, okay, but definitely it's something that needs to talk about with all the stuff that's going on, and we need to keep this constantly talking about. But who wants to talk about America 6 months after the attempted Capitol insurrection? Who wants to start?
I will. Here we are 6 months after all of this, and we have yet to have this commission really started to even just discuss the problem. But what is disappointing is that 6 months later, we know that there was like a stadium full of people and the FBI has only arrested 500. And so far, only one person has gone through their case. This is really disturbing in this country that they can't prosecute these people faster. If these were Black folks, these people would have been prosecuted like this. If this was Black Lives Matter, they would have been prosecuted just like that. We've got a real problem when the number one terrorist organization are white supremacists in this country. And that's who, let's make no mistake, that is who invaded our Capitol on January 6th. White supremacists for Donald Trump. The fact that the country cannot get it together to investigate, let alone charge people. They can't even investigate because so many of these people, these politicians, are in Donald Trump's pocket. It's a sad state of things. It really is. And we're going to end up paying for this because the fact that they weren't stopped gives them carte blanche to do it again. And the next time they do it, it's going to be worse.
Who wants to follow up?
I would like to follow up
Go ahead.
on this particular situation. However, I do agree it is disappointing. I, as a Black woman in America, am not surprised that no one has been held accountable for that exhibit of extremist and domestic terrorism that we witnessed, the defacing of federal property and all these things. The only thing that I would say is I don't even think if it was Black Lives Matter that there would have been cases. The people would have honestly been carried out in body bags. It would have been a different type of protest, I firmly believe, with the plethora of unarmed Black people getting shot. If Black people had the audacity to do that, it would have been a bloodbath. It's very fitting that we celebrate Independence Day supposedly on the 6 months after that, because it's just another slap in the face for Black America and just for Black people in general, and all those looking for equality and things of that nature with that particular situation, which is more than disturbing, but it's typical when you live in America.
Who's next?
Birdie Lynn can go.
Yeah, I think me and Dr. Vibe actually had this conversation on the day that the news broke. And it was absolutely, definitely echoing what author Angie has already said. It was very disappointing and highly disrespectful on how it's being handled. I definitely also agree that it definitely would have had a different effect if there had been another group of people of a different hue on the state capitol. Poorly handled, and I think that it is a kind of a disgrace. A disgrace to our justice system, a disgrace to us as Americans. Definitely a disappointment.
Jill, you must have something good because you're letting everyone go ahead of you.
No, I was just, just listening. I guess for me, it is no surprise, just like author Angie said, it is no surprise what's happening. What I've been trying to figure out what we need, like what's the solution? Because I'm kind of annoyed with the Biden administration at the moment about this, because I feel that to operate like it's all in a silo, like, well, this department's going to handle this, and that's Congress's problem, and that's this. I think that I get his whole thing on bipartisanship, but he needs to reach across and really protect the people who are fighting for the laws on this. And he really needs to make a difference. He needs to call out the good kids in class and he needs to really push them and, the rewards or whatever it is, because after a while you can only, I'm not saying he was a bad parent, but he needs to parent now even harder if this is the role he wants to take. You cannot keep pushing forward. He needs to be strategically aligning with his own different senators and different people. The problem here is we don't know who the rats are on the ship, and they need to come up with some crazy way to figure it out, because every time, like our Secretary of State, I guess, and then our different generals have tried, then we start to see the push from the GOP, like just sort of like slandering them and taking them down. And I think that we have to be better and on top of this. And I really think he should let the squad girls lead on this. I really think that their tactics might be the best, because you have to remember, I'm an older generation. Long after I'm gone, the stuff is going to run very, very differently, just based upon the dynamics of our youth and how they communicate with each other. So if this is the road we're taking with the Matt Gaetz and the one who has the stinky tie and the stinky looking clothes, Jim Jordan, if we're going to keep dealing in this pool, we have to come and hit back hard, because I think people need to see it. It's this, I'm just too good to get down and dirty. It's freaking politics. And it's so nasty that it's forcing all of us to get so filthy dirty every time we go online. And I would like to see some of the senators and the House really knock them out. I mean, Nancy Pelosi doing her thing and putting together a commission, that's great. But we need some fire. And I'm a little bit disappointed with the PR team from Biden's PR women. There's some sisters in there, and they could do a lot better with hitting back hard. And even in pretending that they're not involved with it. I just feel we have to have an arsenal of something to expose the rats, because it is white supremacists who have taken over. And here's the thing. It's not that they were about to. They have done it. So we all keep saying, oh, no, they've done it. They've done it. They're everywhere. The big thing now is exposing them. And then what do we do with them? So there has to be some deeper strategy. And I keep saying I'm not really crazy about Merrick Garland either. I don't know what the hell he's doing.
Yeah, that's the question. What is Merrick Garland doing? Because it's like he's you would think that he would be acting on this. It's like he kind of fell back on this. He's not. Initially, he was like, "Oh, we're going to have robust information gathering. We're going to go after these people, wholeheartedly." And then he just kind of like let it fall by the wayside. And he's not even doing the voting law thing robustly either. It's kind of like we said the last week. He just kind of is like not over it. He's over this job.
His energy is really, it's just like kind of lackluster. I don't know if maybe a woman might have been better at it, or somebody who really has a sense of urgency and pride and, just, wanting to kick some. That's all. It's like the crazy thing is there. I heard on the radio today when I was driving that in Orange County, they arrested 5. One was an ex-police chief. He turned into a yogi. He then has been communicating with the 3%ers. They arrested him finally. There's tape, there's video. He sponsored something for Roger Stone, another rally. Now he's saying he didn't do anything. He didn't know who anyone was. So he's supposedly going down, and they will find the ones that they want to make their scapegoats. But that's only the tip of the iceberg. I think that you should hear these undercover tapes of how much they hate people of color, Black people, Mexicans, and they want their country back. And here's the crazy thing. We keep saying, always talking about the Constitution. And I almost feel that it doesn't hold weight anymore, because those crackers who signed the Constitution had slaves serving them, didn't give a damn about Black people. So, all the white supremacists are doing is like, we're following what our forefathers did. So, and then what do you say? What do you say? It's like, well, we're not living back in those days, and we have set aspirational things. There have been amendments in time, but you have to understand, these people want it to go back where they are the priority. And with that, we got to, throwing back like, this is in the Constitution. It doesn't work with them, because they're basically now defending themselves by saying, yeah, I know, but Tom Jefferson didn't really give a damn. So why should we?
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
And just to add to what you ladies were saying about that, I don't think that when you look at Merrick Garland and you look at Joe Biden's administration, that it is strictly an issue with both of those individuals. For me, it is a pet peeve with the entire Democratic Party and how they handle things. Yeah. Because they want, to me, I call them the Democratic do-gooders, because they want to reach across the aisle and they want agreement from the other party. So they hold all the power, because they're not going to agree with them. And until they grow some cojones and just act as if the same party that was in power the last 4 years, that did whatever was good for them and what they did to no avail to anyone else,
Yeah.
Until they meet it with that same type of vigor, we're going to see no action. It's going to be inaction because they're really trying to be the person to reach across the aisle in solidarity, and they're basically being held hostage by the right wing, which is my issue, and they're going to lose a lot of their supporters that look like us.
Well, you're right.
Inaction
There is a woman, not to cut you off before I forget, because I do that, a woman that sort of bet on us of the Dems taking over in 2020. Her predictions are not so good for us coming up. She's a little concerned because she said the Democrats could lose it because there's some kind of shift that started to happen. And you're absolutely right. People want to see that. So go on.
See action, but their methodology to get action is not what it's going to take. And for me personally, my intuition, along with that woman, whoever she so wisely is, it's going to disintegrate the Democratic Party when what happened the last 4 years should have actually decimated the Republican Party, which there really isn't a Republican Party anymore, but they have more solidarity than we do because there's no action. And it's the inaction isn't basically them not doing anything. It's their methodology that's going to fail because it's contingent upon somebody wanting to have that good nature and accept an olive branch and act accordingly. And they bank on that. They bank on the behavior and the patterns of the Democratic Party to their benefit. And it's painful for me to watch, and it's divisive because when you see the demographic of person that was responsible for saving this election, and then you see favors given to other minority groups other than those people, it just adds to more divisiveness. But yeah, I just wanted to add that part. I think it's more of a party issue. More so than those individuals.
You're probably right. I think you're right.
I mean, I'm in the state that saved Joe Biden, right?
Yeah,
right now,
you are.
I'm in the state that saved Joe Biden, that literally got him the nomination. And here's the thing. Democrats aren't beholden to Republicans. They're basically enslaving themselves to Republicans. These people then told them, no, we're not doing that. So why do they keep trying to get them to do something that they already told them we're not doing? It's like that is why the whole filibuster issue is an issue, because they're not going to work with you. There is not going to be any kind of bipartisanship. They don't want to be bipartisan. They want what they want. And Democrats are either you're going to give them what they want or you're going to just go it alone. And I don't understand why Democrats won't go it alone. They got a mandate. To do these things when Joe Biden won by 81 million votes. They have a mandate to do whatever it is that they want for their constituents. It's not like he won by a small margin. He won by the most votes of any president in history.
True.
So I don't understand why they're allowing Republicans to stall with this, and especially on this particular issue when those were Republicans who invaded the Capitol. They need to be investigated, and the members of the party who assisted them, because this was an inside job, they need to be investigated as well. And Democrats in Congress and the Senate need to not be in fear of investigating their peers.
Yeah, but one thing that really sabotaged us last week and really made the DNC, the Democratic Party, look like crap, because I guess today was not a holiday, and I didn't hear Joe Manchin getting censured by the DNC, by Jamie Harrison, because after listening to him with the ExxonMobil lobbyists and all of that stuff, as far as and knowing that exists, that just set everything back. and everybody went, oh, it's the same old okey doke. And that's what I believe, author Angie is targeting, because it kills the morale. And then what happens is someone like me wakes up one day and says, hell, I might make more money grifting for the Republicans and get my little coins and get the hell out of this place. Because when you're in a boat and it's sinking, after some point, there's only so long you're going to keep praying and hoping. And then you're just going to be like Rose was in the Titanic and didn't let that boy share that door with her. So, I got to take that zone.
Oh, Jill, don't be a Candace Owens, please. Don't. Do not.
Oh, welcome, author Angie. You've been indoctrinated.
No, there's just certain names when I hear, I just feel faint.
Okay, so
let's
just take a little break. I'm going to catch up with some comments. Black Beauty is saying it's not over yet. We're still in grave danger of losing our democracy. Why these people haven't been should be charged with treason, which treason carries a 20-year sentence, is criminal in itself. And then a very good point also, El Rice says, Democrats fall in love, Republicans fall in line.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
couldn't agree more.
Very, very. Now, question: they still don't have any idea about who put the pipe bombs on.
No, it was probably Marjorie Taylor Greene.
And I think that's the issue. Is that Jill? I think what Jill said when she talked about a lot of the politicians not wanting because it was an inside job. I believe that's the main culprit as to why there's not going to be a lot of movement on it, is because if we really saw how far it goes up, it might actually go into the entire administration that was in the White House at that time. And they don't want that out because we would actually find out that there are other politicians that are in Congress with these people that could have been responsible for these people losing their lives on that day. So
I wouldn't be surprised if Stephen Miller put that pipe bomb in there.
What has happened to him?
Slender Man?
I know.
Angie, this is light. You're just appetizing time right now. So get ready.
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying every moment. Like I need this in my life.
All right. Black Beauty has a comment here. The ladies are hitting the nails on the head tonight. As Democrats, our party must be mindful that these Republicans are busy working towards redlining our Democratic districts to a disadvantage. Well, that's leading to our next comment.
Well, just before we move quickly, I mean, that's why I have been a little bit reticent to fall in line myself, like to constantly deal with, the Democrats on coming around the pipeline and voting. I wasn't really a big fan of Nina Turner, but I might be during voting, because I'm starting to think, I don't know if I want all these the allegiance to this lackluster Democratic Party that has no fight in it. I mean, we have a few people in there, but it's in the House actually has, for me, some of the better people. But the problem is that I said I would start really looking at progressive talent coming along the way. I mean, if I'm going to get hoodwinked, let me try somebody different this time, a different flavor.
Well, you know what? Very interesting. And it hasn't got a lot of coverage in the American press. Buffalo now has a upcoming black female mayor. The gentleman that was in there for many years, he got defeated. So lady he got defeated. And I guess in the runoff in December, it's going to be, and the lady who's running for replacing him and looks like she's going to be the mayor is a progressive, very much progressive.
Wow.
So she defeated a black mayor that was in there for, Byron Brown was in there for at least 10 to 15 years.
Wow.
I think if the parties keep going like that, you'll find a lot of Democrats that will move right over into the progressive thing, because it kind of makes sense. Why are we going to be either one of them as black people? I mean, why are we going to do this? Because it's a party that what have they done for us? What have you done for me lately? I freaking paid money through this thing to get people elected. I've been doing whatever the hell, and we all did. But I'll tell you one damn thing. if I don't see things turning around, my votes are going to go for the progressives.
But here's the difficulty here where I sit, because the Republicans and the way with the filibuster, they can't get anything done. Democrats can't get anything done.
They need to kick Joe Manchin to the curb. He needs to be made a poster child of what he did and what he and Kristen Sinema, the dude said, that's who he talks to every week. And he needs to be made a spectacle of at this point. Enough of it. I don't throw him under the bus. You mean Joe Biden doesn't have any dirt on that dude? From how old are these old creep-tastic people?
I mean, Joe Manchin is running the Senate as if he's the speaker.
Absolutely. And Chuck Schumer needs to go. I'm sorry what I said once.
Chuck Schumer does need to go because he's not doing.
He's ineffective.
He's not doing anything. He's sitting there and he's not whipping his caucus. He's not, because if he was tough as nails, he would tell Joe Manchin to get it together. He would tell Kristen Sinema to get it together, or he's going to see to it that they don't get reelected.
Exactly. That's what you do. You know, someone like Adam Schiff, but he's in the House, would have kicked their booties hard. Adam don't play at all. So much that Trump was investigating him. Talk about who we have the wrong guy. It's like you need to go and look at who was Trump afraid of. So He was afraid of Adam Schiff. He like freaking went and, started monitoring toddlers and stuff. So, that for me, I'm just very disappointed. And Chuck Schumer, it's like I feel like I'm going to, have Shabbat and, then get ready for, Friday and turn off all the electricity and, and it's like, and I'm not being anti-Semitic, but I have relatives who are, practice that. And I got to say, I'm sorry. He's too meek and mealy mouth for me.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we've lost Angie for a moment, but I'm sure she will be back. Mm-hmm. So we're going to move on to our next conversation topic. So next up, as we move along here, the U.S. Supreme Court rules in favor of voter restrictions. Oh, my.
So here's the deal. Here's what happened. Arkansas wants to put together a new law. So they had these two provisions in their new law. One was that if you go to the wrong polling place, you can fill out a provisional ballot, but they do not have to count that ballot. That's the first thing. The second part is that they put specific regulations, only certain people can handle your ballot. Okay? So this right here trips up a lot of people of color because you know how they do. They shut down voting districts during elections. Okay, they shut down the places where people vote in the middle of elections. So people end up going other places, and when they go to these other places, they end up filling out these provisional ballots. So now they're not going to have their provisional ballots counted. This is voter suppression, pure and simple. And now that the Supreme Court ruled in Arkansas's favor, it means that any state that comes behind it can do virtually the same thing. And all of these southern and Midwestern states, all of these red states are going to follow suit. And that is why we needed to have the Voting Rights Act restored, because it prevented all these states from doing just this thing.
Who else wants to jump in? Author Angie?
Okay.
Voter restrictions being enforced. What are your thoughts?
I think that it's another one of the genius ploys by the Republican Party. That just solidifies what I just spoke on, how they operate. We celebrate a victory of getting the Democrat, a president and getting Trump out. And as soon as you hear about it, before you could blink or pop a bottle of champagne, you hear about, voter suppression, because they already have their eye on the future of negating the Black vote, negating the votes that are against them, the ones that helped him win. And we have to fight it at every turn. And to me, the Democratic Party should focus on leveling the playing field in the Supreme Court, because if they don't, anything they put through the Supreme Court is going to be to no avail for equal rights, the Voting Act, or anything. That they're not going to get anywhere on that level either.
Okay.
Yeah, I think here's the other part of it too, that just because just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should, right? It doesn't mean that it's necessarily the right thing to do, but we've learned that we can't trust these states to do the right thing. We know that they can't win unless they cheat. These new laws are ways of cheating. They're bucking the system. That is what they are doing. They are bucking the system, trying to renegotiate how we vote so that they can win. They're doing the gerrymandering. They're going to be doing that because the census tracts and all that stuff are going to come up. They're doing the redistricting. They're going to be passing all of these laws, and there's a reason that they did it now as opposed to doing it in 2023, because they're trying to ensure that they redesign the Senate, that they can get control of the Senate and get long-term control of it.
Anyone else want to comment?
Yeah, I'll say one thing. I think the major issue is we already know that every election going forward is going to be an absolute nightmare. We already see it with New York. All of a sudden, and all that has done, even though there are favorites that we have in it, like, our own personal favorites, just the way it's already rolling down that hill, like, they didn't do this. So how long has New York been doing this? Oh my God, it all undermines trust. And, and then it also just makes people just go, well, I'm not going to go. And the other thing is, I don't personally like people having access to my private information. It's bad enough I've got to get online and I'm hacked all the time or something is going on, but I really don't like a bunch of boneheads going through my freaking, ballot. It's none of their business what I voted for. And I'll smack them if they decide to stop me at the polls, because we're going to have a problem, because I am not the one. So, and I might smack a few for other people if I see something going on, because personally, it's just getting to that point. I just think we have to be so inclusive. Stop posting all our stuff online. We got to form different ways of communicating with each other. It can't be on Twitter. It can't be so people can see what we're saying. We've got to pull this together and get private conversation. Lock them out. We got to do what they did with Rosa Parks. We got to be smarter than what's happening. And we don't need these sometimey, grifter of everybody who's running for office and, well, I'm Black and I'm a Republican, sit down, don't. In fact, pretend that you're going to vote for them. Sign up for their stuff. They don't know. Let's do it the other way. Do you know how many stupid emails I get about Donald Trump? Can you give some money? Can you whatever? At first, and I was like, oh, right. I remember when I signed up for it, I was trying to be a double agent. So, all I know is we've got to keep our cards play close to our vest. Every pundit is out there, getting their follows and their likes and their this, and that's how they do it. And they go home and they sleep, and then they got another story the next day. But the reality is there are people in the trenches, And we have to figure out different ways to communicate because that's how they do it. These old crackers still pull out the old CB, y'all. Come on.
Jill, fire. Fire. Fire.
As always.
Fire. Jill, fire. Birdie, we have not heard from you in a little bit. Talk to us.
Wow, guys, I have like a personal story of voter suppression. I honestly thought that it was naively, but thank God we have correspondents like Jill to knock us back into reality. My gosh. I was
Birdie, can I just interrupt for a second? Can you be a little bit louder? You're low.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, absolutely. It's still alive and well. Voter suppression. I'm like, this is like, what year are we in? I had a absentee ballot in my hand and I did not mail it. So I rushed to the polls. It was a local library. When I walked in, there was this older gentleman, veteran, you know, old sweet man. You know, I love elderly, I love kids. And he literally, without even asking me what I needed, he was like, "You can't vote here. Like, you have to go. You won't be able to vote." I'm like, "What?" And then I'm staring at him in disbelief, almost. And then there's another gentleman that walks up to me, and I hand him my absentee vote. I'm like, "I can still vote." And he's like, "No, you have to take this down to downtown Nashville." And I just looked at him with this blank stare. I'm like, "You have got to be kidding me."
Wow.
You represent my ID, and I should be able to vote. You know, but I kind of gave him the side. I didn't argue. I just went to a different voting pool, and I was just like, and then after that, I just could not believe what year I was in. I was completely stunned.
Horrible. That's terrible.
Stunned. And if I had, and then I saw people walking back and forth out of the voting pool, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, you only go in once and you vote and you leave.
Right.
And that was, I should have known, you know, that was like really suspicious before I even got in there. But I was just like, that is just awful. No one should have to go through that. Any type of voter suppression, simply put, it's when anybody tries to prevent you or makes it harder for you to exercise your right, your human right to vote.
Yes.
And it was just disgusting. It was a sad day in Tennessee, I must say.
Yeah, and you know what's so sad too is that it's the people that they put in charge, the people that they're going to put in charge of controlling the vote. These are just regular citizens, okay? They're not specially trained people. They're volunteers. So what is going to stop a Republican volunteer from
giving misinformation?
Exactly. Because now the Supreme Court, with this ruling, has opened the door for people to be able to say, oh, guess what? Seeing someone's name on the list and saying, oh, sorry, your name's not on the list. You can't vote here. Do you want an absentee ballot? And knowing that ballot's not going to get counted, and having a stack of ballots from Black people that they know aren't going to get counted.
Well, we got to come up with a solution of how to tag team that. I don't know if it's something that we have a check-in with everybody across, but we got to do something.
Okay, so so there's a question from Black Beauty saying, I would like to ask a question. Wouldn't it be beneficial for Joe Biden to immediately start stacking the court, and why hasn't he?
I agree.
That was my comment earlier. But Birdie, I turned 18 February 21st, 1999. So guess what my first time voting was? My first time voting was the 2000 election when I lived in West Palm Beach, Florida. You want to talk about voter suppression?
Oh boy.
Oh my God, yes.
That was my first voting experience. And I was...
Did you have a hanging chad?
Hanging chads, right?
Yeah.
It was one of the hardest things ever in life. I was bounced around to 4 different polling places.
Oh my God.
And at the end of the day was returned back to what I knew was my polling place.
No.
because unlike a lot of other people, my stepmother worked as a poll agent for a lot of years. So she volunteered and did it. It's not even volunteer; you get paid for it.
Yeah.
And
you do? Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay.
I might try to sign up for that.
You should, because you're privy to a lot of information that I'm about to tell you.
Yeah.
When we talk about what's to prohibit Republican volunteers from doing things, the way that they do it is it's supposed to be a Republican and a Democrat volunteer to do each station.
Oh,
Okay.
So that's where the accountability comes into. And that's where I tell my daughter, who is 18 and things of that nature, knowledge is so much power, because like I said, me being raised with my stepmother that was very, she wasn't a protester or anything like that, but she was very active in the political process. It privied me to, hey, I can make $16, $17 an hour.
that's great.
It's very good money.
It's good to know too.
Yeah, hold on. Let me just interrupt. So just interrupt a second. Aisha, could you imagine Jill Jones running a polling station?
That's why I'm sitting here with this face. Like, I'm just like, Jill, stop.
I'm just getting this vision of OMG. Jill running a polling station?
No, Jill, go write a song or something.
I know, right?
Go write a song or something.
That would be a tight ship I'd be running.
It's work, though. It is work. It is very tedious, and you learn each station. You learn your station, and I think I still have it. It's the size of an old yellow book phone book.
Oh my God.
For the station that I learned. It was so many protocols, especially with COVID, adding another layer to it.
See, Jill will curse somebody out.
Oh, no. I enjoyed it, but it was crazy to see the type of people, like older people, when they needed help, for me to be honest and not have them vote for my party, even though they needed help to do other things. So it's a lot that you're privy to. And
because I think about my polling place where I go to vote. There's nothing but Black Democratic women when I go to vote.
Right.
I love those old ladies.
So the fight will continue on in regards to voting restrictions. Really, I thought democracy.
And Jill's not going to apply to you. Okay.
That might.
You know something? I wouldn't put it past her.
Mm-hmm.
Not if they see this video.
No,
what?
I think we all should, and that's how tides will change, and that's how things you'll be able to.
Yeah, I think we should.
Change.
Yeah,
and that's the thing with even policing. Like, we have to get involved in these institutions that are oppressing us, that are being utilized to do those things. We have to get involved, or we're going to get crushed by them continually. You can't be. You can't affect.
So Jill, here's a vote for you running a station, because Christy White says, "LOL, I'd vote there."
Thank you,
Christy. She might take your ballot away.
I know. What the hell are you voting for? Damn. What the hell is wrong with you? Yeah, it's over there.
Oh, well, folks, we are going to take a quick little break, because the subjects we have coming up, OMG. We got everything from Bill Cosby, Felicia Rashad. We've got Howard University. We've got Rachel Nichols. We got Maria Taylor. We got ESPN. We got lots coming up. So I think it's a good time to take a little bit of a break. We'll be back in about 90 seconds. Log it tight. We're on here live, Staggers, State of Things with Aisha Jill, with special guests Bertie Lynn and author Angie. Hold tight. Go. So, ladies, what is going on?
Just that he needs to get it together.
Sick of that. I am sick of it.
Something is seriously wrong with you.
Why is he still there?
She shouldn't be near Congress.
You need an exorcism, because I don't know what is wrong with you people.
It was so powerful.
And I really wish everybody would stop bowing down to this.
What is he talking about? This makes no sense.
They know they are not the oppressed party. but they love being the superior ones and they want to flaunt it.
So it was always made political, particularly for people of color and the LGBTQ population.
We end off every episode with a cockroach. This episode's cockroach.
Everything.
Everything?
All the things are going on.
All the things?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we are back.
That's so funny.
I love that commercial.
You know, and
I love it too.
And there's that old song, "What you see is what you get," and that's
What
a perfect.
you see is what you get. By the Dynamics, right?
Yes. We have our first singing poll manager on the line tonight.
Yes.
So if you behave yourself, she'll do a song for you. If you don't, she'll kick you out of the voting district.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, she does have a new single out. It is called Not Another Love Song. So go listen to it.
There we go.
Can't wait.
There we go. All right. Now, the first half was appetizers. Now, I'm almost hesitant to put this conversation topic up, but I got to do it. Bill Cosby released after court overturns sex assault conviction. Ladies, when you heard this, what was your first response?
Took them long enough.
Oh, you got to go deeper than that.
Well, I'm no Bill Cosby fan, but I had heard previously that exactly what happened, that it was illegal, that he had made a deal with them and that they couldn't try him. So not that he's innocent, but he was smart enough, or his legal team was smart enough to give him clearance, and then they went ahead and did it anyway. Not that I like it. I'm not here for it. R. Kelly's waiting on his turn. And I just really think that it is a reflection of how women are viewed in this country and in this world. I'm highly disappointed in it, but I was waiting on it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I had spoken with my cousin who, is in legal and works with a judge and everything in Ohio, actually. And her whole thing was that they got this testimony with the civil case, and then you have a hotshot prosecutor who just wanted to make a name for himself. And that's what happens when cases are not methodically planned and strategized. And I think that, unfortunately, then to drag all those 40 women through it, you remember the extra women, their statutes had run up. So really them testifying and coming out is kind of like, I mean, maybe they'll get some monetary satisfaction from like interviews or which probably not, because, we live in a country that exploits absolutely every freaking body, the media, this, that, and then the story dries up and then it goes away. Bill Cosby, they got that confession illegally, basically, or they should not have been able to use that. And if they did allow it, then you're looking at a lot of people having some issues, and it's setting a precedence in the legal forum. And we just really don't. That's just, this country is not based upon justice. It's based upon laws. Justice would mean you have some morality about you or ethics. That's justice. But America is about law, rule of law. You hear everybody having your rule of law. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, he was basically released on a technicality.
Mm-hmm.
It was a technicality, and the testimony that was used was like fruit of a poison tree.
Yeah,
fruit of a poisonous tree, and it stems from the civil case. This is one of the this happens a lot, and is one of the reasons why in the Michael Jackson case, the first one, they settled, not because he was guilty, but because they just didn't want to deal with the civil part of the civil part, where the civil information could be used and manipulated in a criminal case. And that's what you have here. Everybody knows in Hollywood what Bill Cosby was doing. Anyone in Hollywood.
Okay. All right. So let me just, before we continue on, here's some comments. Christina, my conspiracy theory is that Cosby was released due to lack of, I don't know what this means.
Derek Chauvin.
Okay, maybe they had to drop the charges to adjust Cosby because it would have got a longer sentence. And she says that would be been a big problem. Black Beauty is saying Bill Cosby will forever be imprisoned, even as a free man. What he did to those women was criminal, and because he's a rich man, his legal team was able to continue to buy his release.
Well, he was able to go through the appeals process, and when you do that, and when you let it happen, and you have sponsors, in his case, he has money to go through the appeals case, it was bound to happen. And I'm with author Angie, like, what took so long? Because that was going to move through. And I think what's even worse is that the prosecutor who prosecuted, he knew it was. And to be honest, we need to kind of like ask, why did the judge let that, what was the judge thinking too? Because they know at the time, and I got to tell you, there are some idiot judges in America, and they do just enough to push it off, and then it becomes somebody else's problem. Meanwhile, the courts have made how much money? Because that's all this is. There's two groups that made money. The prosecutor got a name for himself. He'll write a book. It'll go on 2020. Dateline got some content. And then the old ineffective judge just knew, they know. And while they're trying cases, and my question is, who monitors the judges now? Who oversees them anymore? Because this should not have gone this far. What the hell was the judge thinking?
I don't know. I was thinking maybe Brett Kavanaugh presided over the case.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't know.
Birdie, what are your thoughts on Bill Cosby?
First heard about his release. Immediately, I wasn't surprised because it's definitely a direct reflection of what due process looks like in America. Mm-hmm. Whether he actually did it or did not do it, it's a reflection of the way our country runs off of the rule of law. And we should be more upset at the way our courts are actually moving and handling these types of situations, because it burdens actually the real victims in the case. And like Jill said, it takes money to appeal these cases, to go through that process. So I wasn't surprised at all. It's definitely a reflection of, how we operate, and it's going to continue to do that unless we change.
And you make a great point about that, because we are sitting around hoping that Trump gets indicted and the angles that they have to go. Do you know how many attorneys Donald Trump has conflicted out? Right. Like, think about it. In the state of New York alone, he has conflicted out so many firms. So a lot of it gets tied up. That's why he's never served a day. That's why he is never, and he has the money because he doesn't pay the attorneys, but he keeps appealing and appealing and appealing. And this is the problem. There's no checks and balances in our system. But Bill Cosby had that attorney. They were sitting on that ace in the hole. And the fact that the media wasn't talking about it is kind of suspect too, because isn't everybody a damn lawyer on TV now? And, it's like, really? And didn't y'all know this too? Why weren't you talking about this? I mean, we have to understand that, it was civil. Then the prosecutor just technically was like, I'm going to game the system so that I become a household name. And I've created a new revenue stream. That's that.
Right.
He made himself a Johnny Cochran.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally
Yeah.
did.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
to add on to what Bertie
Definitely
was
try.
talking about, when you talk
Mhm.
about like it takes money to appeal, I feel that speaks more about the different justice systems that we have. Like there's a justice system for poor Black and brown. There's a justice system for rich brown and Black. There's a justice system for white people and rich white people. There's like a quadruple different set of rules. I wouldn't even say law, because law is supposed to be bound in one way. So I said there are a different set of rules according to your circumstances and what you look like in this country. And there just is a different set of rules when you have, you know, the monetary resources to afford yourself a legal team like Johnny Cochran, a modern day Johnny Cochran, in these entities, which is going to have a big issue and a blow up that's going to come up in this country, not just divisive by race, creed, ethnicity, or gender, or even sexual preference, but it's going to, you know, but caste, but your class and your social structure and your monetary, if whether you're rich or poor, like your status when it comes to that economically, is going to be like, it's going to be insane. And it's scary being American. I mean, at one point when Trump was in office, it was hard to go out of the country because you were a laughing stock, or you had to be a mouthpiece to explain to people that you didn't vote for him and he has nothing to do with you, and you know, separate yourself from this country. To speak for it or speak for yourself, to say, no, I read books, I am intelligent, I voted for Obama, and I would have voted if he could. Like, I wish he could have, you know, I like cohesive conversation. I'm an intellectual. Now, that is no reflection of me, but it is a reflection of this entire country and the fabric of this country, from the flawed justice system or injustice system that has been built on, I don't know, that we fight over stolen land built on the backs of Africans that still can't find money to pay for that free label that made this country the greatest country in the world. And that sin is going to be continually paid for until we admit it and make amends because of it. But justice system just gets more and more unjustified every day, even with Derek Chauvin.
Yes.
I just want to point out one thing. You have 4 Black women here discussing this issue in a very practical manner, and we're discussing the law behind it. If we were 4 white women, we'll discuss this totally different.
How
I think
they online they were getting into the Me Too emotional part of it, whereas we're discussing this in terms of the law,
Jill,
and how it is. Well,
I thought, Jill, you were gonna I'm not gonna say what I thought you were gonna do. Okay.
And how we're discussing this in terms of the law and what we know and what we observe about money and power. They were just like, oh, this is so unfair. Those poor women indeed. But we're understanding how this overturning of the conviction actually happened.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I heard that there were some dodgy, shady women who were after Harvey Weinstein in the crew, and you know, in this new, when they're going to ship him out. And I heard a rumor from a couple of girlfriends that there's a few bad eggs in the bunch. They knew the girls from being around town, and they're just going in for the money. So, I mean, you really do have that element as well, and we'd be fools to deny it. And, you know, white women tears have kind of like drowned the Me Too movement. It's floating on a very deflated inner tube right now, in my opinion. I think as Black women, and knowing that my ancestors fought every day some man off of them, really, probably. I mean, I can only imagine. And, you know, even if you think of like Sophia in The Color Purple, That wasn't a lie. That's for real. So in my reality, it's like, I can't get with them on that because they want to go into the Me Too, and it sounds nice and it sounds supportive and they want to be there for Black women. But the reality is the way they got the information regarding this man was illegal, and the case proceeded because he was a Black man. Now, no, really, if this was Derek Chauvin and it was a confession that they got based upon, I'm telling you, it wouldn't have been admissible in court. Mm-hmm. They had all of this because he was a Black man, and other people turned away. I'm not saying he wasn't guilty, but I am saying, like, y'all knew this at the beginning, that this wasn't like legit. So why would you set it up and have the whole thing? Because they kept people so on the emotion that of, oh my God, he raped women, he drugged them, he gave them Spanish fly. Oh my God. But nobody was really paying attention to, this isn't really legit. This can't be admissible. And the judge was like, yeah, I know, but we're just gonna come on, keep it moving. And that's wrong. And that was because it wasn't because of the emotion of Me Too. It was like, we gonna get this Black man, because a lot of us don't like the fact that, he made some enemies too. So
he tried to buy
NBC. There was a lot of other layers in this, and it doesn't mean I'm defending him, but it does mean one thing. I did say when they said he was released, I said, wow, his blindness sure did cure it.
Yeah.
That was the one thing I was like, I guess his blindness is, Helen Keller days are over.
I was blind, now I see. Amazing grace.
How sweet the sound.
Yes.
A total miscarriage of justice.
What I wanted to add on to what you said, Jill, about our Caucasian counterparts, I don't believe that they want to support us in the Me Too movement. I believe like with the women's suffrage movement, that they wanted to be the face of it. And make it wholeheartedly about them. We started, they take it, and then whatever they say goes
absolutely
with it.
hijack.
As with the women's suffrage movement and things of that nature. When you see that picture of even Gloria Steinem, you see that picture of her
and the Black woman.
Most girls know her name and not the Black lady standing next to her. For me,
and they don't know Bell Hooks, who
really
got kicked to the curb during that. Yes, I know Gloria Steinem.
So for that is, and it deflates it. So it makes me think on a lot of levels, on a conspiracy level. So are they sent there to dilute the movement so that we don't get any real traction? Because I know how
I don't think
poor women would get action, how we wouldn't take no for an answer, how we would be more invigorated with the way that we pursue things for justice for women in general, no matter the color, creed, or whatever. But they don't take things like we do.
You said invigorated, and it's an interesting word, because for me, it's like it creates a posse. Let's not forget what happened with Kobe Bryant. So I'm always very conflicted in these situations with these women, and I'm not trying to dismiss anything that they go through. But I know if these men were not famous and Black with money, they wouldn't be there. And I think that there's a psychology with Bill Cosby. The curious thing for me is, like, was he into necrophilia or something? Because he didn't have to drug any woman. Like Janice Dickinson, she'd sleep with robot that rolls around cleans the freaking floor. Come on. We're talking about doggy women, okay? Women who will just have sex with anything. And that the whole thing, and she actually tipped it and then came back and retracted what she said. And as far as I'm concerned, she should have been completely canceled, because that self-serving pazzo, whatever she is, and her, that was wrong. And I don't think that you should be able to go to, you know, the DA or prosecutor and lie. I think you should be held accountable. You should not be allowed in this day and age. Screw your free speech too.
Amen.
Well, I mean, not
Amen.
taking away from their experiences, but I mean, that dog pound that accused Bill Cosby.
Oh, I mean, you know, but this was my thing about him was like, there's something wrong with him, and I have a
Angie, you okay?
Well, no, I have a friend whose dad knew him, and he was old, like 80, and he said something like, Bill didn't have to do all that stuff. He said women would throw themselves at him, but he always felt that it was because he'd been looked down upon. He was very insecure about certain things, features on his face. And that in a way, there was like this real anger about, he knew why women were up with him. He knew, you know, and also women looking for dads and whatever. What happens in the psychology of sociopaths is they're constructed by our society somehow at some critical, crucial point. And I also think that there is a real conversation that needs to happen in the Me Too movement about women. And I'm not victim blaming, but what victim blaming is, the reality is you're goes to a man's hotel room. The simple thing is there's only a couple things y'all going to be doing, and it ain't checkers. And yes, you should be able to have the right to go and lounge around. But let's be honest, this coy routine, you've got the most puritanical women in America who've been indoctrinated by the freaking Jesuits or whatever, those weird brownists and whatever. There's so much guilt and repressed sexuality in this country that I just can't even take it. You know, women have now wake up in the morning and go, I lived with him for 10 years and I think he molested me one night. I'm going to Me Too him. You know, it's like, please, what? You know, we have to have honest conversations. Honest. Like, I know it when I've gone to a man's hotel room, what's expected. I know if I don't feel like it, I'll say no. I know there's a potential of something going on. But let's be honest. We have a lot of double standards. I turned on that stupid show, The Real Housewives, the other day. Women, Garcelle and all of them ogling men, talking about, really? So men can't do that anymore. If a man talked about a woman's boobs the way you just talked about that man's private parts, it's wrong. So I don't give a. We have a problem with double standards and people calling people out. And also this, I was married, and yes, people have been raped, things have happened, but I guess as Black women and hearing our grandmother's stories, our mother's stories, you know, they didn't have time for plantation tears. I'm sorry.
Anyone else want to follow that?
What comes to mind when we talk about double standards and women's going to men's hotel rooms is Mike Tyson when I was younger. I'm having conversations with my father and family members about going to people's hotel rooms. And when I'm at an age when that's not even in my mind, like the only thing that's open past midnight is legs, you know, and certain things because of those type of conversations. And even though I was young, I didn't think that Mike Tyson should have gone to jail for that offense.
Right.
Because she did go to his, you know, like it was very suspect. And it kind of, as a woman, gives you a kind of nuanced existence when you hear these cockamamie stories and these people crying rape or crying foul when they don't always get their outcome, desired outcome, even in the Kobe situation of something. And it's me having a 12-year-old son that likes basketball and stuff like that. I have conversations with him about making himself a target if he's successful in any line. Like you have to be careful, guarded, because the society that we live in nowadays, you get alerts to your phone to what kind of contracts these people make. Yes. So everybody is piranhas. Women, I mean, men.
You're right.
We all things at that degree.
Yeah.
And
we need more decorum and manners. Maybe we
I
need
don't
to
want
write
my body objectified to
No.
or policed or anything of that nature as a woman, but I am an intellectual, I am a fact-based person, so I know that there are women that target men with money, with power for their own benefit. And they will lie and they will set up circumstances to bring them down if they don't get what they want, blackmail and all these other cruel things. And so guys could also have their me too. Just like when I say Black Lives Matter, people come and say all lives matter. It's only a matter of time before men say,
well, they
hashtag
should.
me too.
I mean, the
Don't
Kardashians do
me.
it for a living.
Yeah. I mean, look at what they did to James Franco. The girls were signed up for a class. Now, the class was about how to perform oral sex. That's the class, right? In a movie. So you have all these dams that you use to perform sex scenes. Then you got upset because you're being exploited and they film it and they do it. You signed up for a class, an acting class, to put a dam over your private parts and simulate this stuff, which is what they do in films. Now, talk about like, you know, we're into some really interesting waters here. And so then you settle, you make a case, and wait a minute, you're his girlfriend too. So now you don't feel comfortable. So he settles and there you go. But we have something where the men do need to step up a little bit because there are some mixed messages. And women, you know, my grandma was talking to me at 5 years old. I know it's a little early to be told about men. And that was just because of her upbringing. And it was pretty traumatizing. But really, it was like, you go to your friend's house, don't stay in the room with, you know, it was crazy. But that's what it was. So with Bill Cosby, he should have obviously been prosecuted, but they didn't have the legitimate evidence. And that's the same danger I feel with Donald Trump and all of them, that these young millennial knuckleheads or whoever they are, these old geezers are outfoxing all y'all young who went to Harvard and Yale and whatever, and we're so smart. Y'all can't freaking, you know, they're just like they're dealing with a soup sandwich all the time when you're dealing with these old men, rich old men.
All right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. No, absolutely right. Like echoing all of the ladies, like, but you know, there's nothing, you know, I myself with my family, you know, I also had the talk, you know, my brother had the talk of how to conduct yourself when you're out, or when you, you know, achieve a level of success, you know, how you should carry yourself because you represent, you know, your family, you represent, you know, your community.
True.
But we have to be honest, there's nothing that they can prepare you when there's a predator, you know, when there's someone that's trying to take advantage of you. So there's really no way. And that's where, you know, let's go full circle back to discussing the rule of law of what we were talking about. You know, it's our due process system that gave way to give predators the ability to prey on women and not for them not to be heard. So this miscarriage of, you know, the prosecutor should have never, you know, had that much power over the case as much, you know, to even offer that
you're right.
quid pro quo, you know, agreement with him. You know, there's no negotiating. We shouldn't negotiate with alleged predators. So definitely a miscarriage of justice. Definitely, obviously, no respect for, you know, either party, whether it's the law or either parties. So
but
we definitely have a lot of work to do.
This country has exploited so many people. I was just talking today about the actual trafficking that they've done with young talent athletes on the college teams. They have literally trafficked them back and forth and given them nothing. So until the Supreme Court just flipped that and said, no, now it's got to change. But they've been doing it and making money off of people for years. We have remember Dr. Vibe, I said, America doesn't respect its young people or its children. It doesn't. They don't respect them. And they don't really take care of them.
And the only reason why the NCAA let that get passed was because California, Gavin Newsom, passed it first.
Right. He's a great guy. I love Gavin.
People are going to have an influx of talent collegiate talent going to California to be able to make money.
Right.
That the rest couldn't. So it had to, because of that forward thinking of that dude in California, Gavin Newsom. I may not agree with everything he does.
Exactly. But he made
California being a trendsetter and a trailblazer, and that effect is the reason why, because that has been being lobbied for years. I'm an avid sports fan.
I was surprised.
So I was on that. No, I was not surprised because
really?
They had to. Their hands were forced by the state of California,
yeah,
which forced all of the other states with the legalization of marijuana as well. So
yay, Gavin!
With this trailblazing and things of that nature, how California was.
I'm gonna cut it here because we still got a lot to go.
Okay,
no, it's all right. It's all right. Just want to catch up. Welcome, thanks to people. Christy Whites. Hey, what's going on? BLPR gave a recommendation of a great series about sex assault on women called "I May Destroy You," which is on HBO. So
I had a lyric once that said, "I may destroy you." That's funny.
So definitely, she's saying interesting. Oh God, I'm not even going to go there. Interesting conversation. Jill. I'm going to
mute myself.
So, and folks, everyone who's here, where you're watching live on the replay or listening on the replay, this is epic. We've got the ladies in the house, and they are bringing it tonight. So now we're still going to continue on with the Cosby release, but now another aspect. Felicia Rashad, support of Bill Cosby, highlights the division in the Black community. So what are you ladies hearing or viewing about the response in the Black community about his release?
Felicia Rashad basically forgot that she was a dean in addition to just being an actress.
I just wanted to piggyback on the little bit that she did say when she was talking about Felicia Rashad being a dean as well as an actress, but she just got put in that position recently. And I think her first inclination as with a lot of Black women to protect those in our circle of people that we know, which I think her whole outlook on that situation is very jaded because of her personal relationship with him, that she can't see past who she knows him to be to see anything negative about him, which to me should not equate to any division within the Black community, because that is expected from her. Nobody expects her to speak ill of him. No one expects her to be glad that he was in jail in the beginning, ending, and in the middle, or whatever the case may be. That was like anything else that we have discussed, where I guess my theme today is just, I'm not surprised. I expect these things. You don't expect her to say anything negative about him because of her persona, her interaction, and her perception is reality to her, as it is with all of us when it comes to her. And that's where I just don't really feel that anybody, not that we could condone her or that she's even condoning any harm against women, but she's only speaking her truth in her relationship and just a reflection of her interaction with that individual, which is what we all tend to do as people.
I don't think there was much division. I mean, to be honest, I think we all were like, at least, and you're right, her relationship with him, who would expect her to come out and go, oh, damn, it wasn't going to happen. And you won't hear anybody else saying anything either, unless they just want to go on TV and get some airtime.
I think the point was that she said anything at all. Given that she was going to be at Howard, the division really came from the Howard University students, because they were really upset because of the history that Howard has with handling sexual assault cases on campus, and that she did clean it up afterwards, which with the follow-up text. She's she has the right to her opinion and her feelings based on knowing him. But sometimes it's better to say nothing. Sometimes, even though you have the platform to say something, sometimes it's better to say nothing at all. granted, she didn't start the job then, but she knew she had it. She knew she had it for a month. And when you're in that high profile of a position, it's correct. What some of the students were saying is that she, as a dean, she also is going to serve as an advisor to students. And so students are going to need to feel comfortable coming to her in cases where they may have been sexually assaulted. And right then and there, that may make some students feel very uncomfortable. So that's where that was coming from.
No, I was just speaking about the timeliness of it, because she's not adjusted to that world. I don't think she was expecting that backlash, because she wasn't aware of a lot of things about that position. Like, I don't think she's ever received backlash to that level for her support of Bill Cosby or any other tweet or Instagram post that she's ever had. So
she has experience in academia. This isn't her first rodeo as a professor, so she knows.
I just don't see anybody I don't see anybody with the common sense or whatever expecting anything different from her. You know, you have to consider the source, and from her, nothing else translates to me, and it doesn't bother me. I just expect that from her, because she is she's the ride or die when it comes to him.
Yeah.
But she's also been relatively inconsistent in her comments. Sometimes she'll comment, sometimes she doesn't.
I don't know why she would comment if you got a new job.
His comment will be more damning to her when he tried to come at Howard in defense of her. That will be more damning than what she even said in support of him.
Now that right there was
what happened?
He did need to respond to Howard.
What did he say?
He basically
because Howard issued a statement basically saying, you know, they're not responsible for the content of the social media accounts of their professors, et cetera. It doesn't reflect the university's
a disclaimer.
Yeah, a disclaimer, and then he chastised Howard for issuing a disclaimer.
These old people, they are not going to change, and they're too old to at this point. That's their dynamic. Weird. Yeah, he came for them. Wow.
Of course he did. He was defending who was defending him.
Yeah, I don't think it was very in good taste for him to actually, you know, especially since, you know, in the, you know, hot water that he's in, to even speak. He should just be thankful his lucky stars that he got the, you know, justice that he received.
He could have just sat in the corner and ate his food.
Yeah, Aisha, I'm glad that you actually brought that, you know, the past about Howard handling sexual assault. You know, I didn't even have any idea about that, which does kind of play in, you know, a factor that I think is very strong when it does come for her to speak. But then I do have to come back with, you know, I don't think Phylicia Rashad is not an intelligent woman. I don't think, you know, I at first, when I first heard about it, I did not think that her tweet was insensitive. I think it was more of a lines of just going off of the facts of the, you know, of how the due process was done. I don't think she meant any harm. Like author Angie did say, I do agree with that part, that, you know, you have to consider the source. And, you know, she has a long, you know, standing credibility in in the media. I highly doubt that she would have made that statement, you know, and expected, like you said, such a backlash, you know. So in her defense, I don't think it was malicious. But then again, you know, when I hear about, you know, the background of, you know, Howard, it's not a good look. And it's definitely something that should have, it's definitely not something that, you know, should have been necessarily commented on. However, you know, the tweet was made before she was, you know, had that role or that position.
Wow. But it was just
definitely can see it from both
sides. That's the thing. It was just the day before.
Yeah.
So that was the other part that for a lot of people was kind of like, you know, the press said, oh, she wasn't dean yet. Well, it was the day before. Her contract was already signed.
The tweet or the IG post when she basically was
The post was
that her friend was released and said they got it right or something to that.
The post, yeah, the post was the day before she took off.
It was light. It was more like maybe a jerk reaction, a knee-jerk reaction for her, and just posting, which we all have been guilty of posting things on emotion and things of that nature.
Yeah,
and because I don't agree with what how she stands and how she feels about it. To me, I just have to look at the humane aspect of it.
Yeah,
exactly.
That I wouldn't want to be judged because I felt some type. Well, I don't care. I'm okay. I guess I just don't care because things I post, I don't care. I dare people. I troll trolls. So, but I'm not Felicia Rashad, Debbie Ellen's sister, and I'm not a dean at Howard. But it's just like I really don't want the double standard again with people who have achieved a certain level of success being held to a higher expectation than even the ex-president of the United States. So that's my bar. It's just like, if you're not going to hold that guy accountable for all the things that he did, then I just have a hard time holding regular folk or people that wasn't in that type of office to a higher standard. Not that I agree with.
Well, it's not so much holding her to a higher standard. It's that I've signed these contracts before with universities, and there is in every university contract almost like a morals clause, ethics, an ethics clause where they state things like that. And so, I did watch my social media when I was working for a university. I don't care now. And Dr. Vibe has seen my social media. I don't care now.
Yeah, quite honestly, I mean, I hold HBCUs actually to a higher standard. We're a school. College is where they say the meeting house of many minds, and I think it's just would be absolutely wrong to judge her based off of this one tweet. She's given academia a lot, and I think she's a highly intelligent woman, and I don't think it necessarily overall can describe her character. And I think she has a lot to offer students, especially in this climate where HBCUs are underfunded and don't have that many people that are willing to actually give their gifts. So I understand why Felicia Rashad got the side eye, but then let's not deface that she's ever done for the community. She deserves grace.
Yeah, she deserves the position. I think that they were wrong for calling out for her to be fired. I think that was a bridge too far. Demanding an apology is one thing, but demanding for her to be fired, I think, was too much.
I mean, that we keep trying things in the public forum, and the reality is she said what she said. I mean, who cares at this point? I mean, it was terrible, but the reality is they got it wrong. The way they prosecuted him, it's really simple. And if you were going to go and teach school, or obviously she had a relationship with Bill, but I bet she's older. They are not going to change this. Trying everything in the public forum, it gets very old after a while, because there is a part of me which is like, okay, sometimes my elders say things and who are older than me, and I do find myself like, I'm not going to argue, just be all out. I'm just like, okay, we'll see you later, bye. Now Judge Joe Brown, I had to stop following him.
Yeah. He was a jerk. He was a jerk about this, though. He was
my
a
God.
total
I used to
ass.
and I followed him at one point. I had to cut him loose.
He was a total
ass.
ass.
What he talked about all the damn time. I was like, horrified. I was like, man, he was like Jackie Gleason's role in that movie with back in the hillbilly days.
I
mean, this butt,
He was like,
his own people.
He was like, if you split, so what? If he slipped something in your drink, it was a party drug, and
women need to be home with their kids.
Oh my goodness!
It was oh my god,
wearing them square panties. Or keep your clothes on and your panties up.
Yeah,
that's Joe Brown.
I think when he have him committed,
she shouldn't have come on.
Well, you said hello to him, so you open the door. So
exactly.
oh my god!
Already.
It's
exactly.
Like, Negro, what is wrong with you?
It makes me wonder what the hell.
I want to see him get tested because he got dementia. Something.
I mean, a date with that dude must have been hell. Going out on a date with him was probably like, I mean, he's just like, I fed you tonight. You ain't gonna give me nothing. I want some. That steak cost me $18.
How old is Judge Joe Brown? Isn't he in his 80s or something? It's like, what are you gonna do? I don't even
all right, let me catch up. Let me catch up on some comments here before this just blows up. So BLPR says, what standard was the president held to?
Right,
exactly.
She goes, right. People have to edit what they share and record online. She also says this generation is not taking support for oppression of anyone. Power to them. Joe Brown, no surprise there. And then she says, but what did he say that Jill didn't?
I know. Oh my God. He was just so
foul,
archaic. I mean, it was like 1938.
Yeah,
he was talking. Take off your pinafore.
Can you pick up my tampons? Or I don't pick up no men's stuff. And you're not sleeping in the house. You're going out by the barn.
Angie, are you okay?
No, it's just, I mean, honestly, with this particular conversation, it's just my aggressive disdain for Judge Joe Brown, and it's just like it's just
horrible.
It makes me want to hurl. Like, I have a problem with misogynists and just people that need to be committed or put into a home already.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sick of him. I'm sick of him trending.
It's trending.
I'm sick of trying to evade the videos because I've never followed him. I didn't even like him when he had a show.
Right. And Mark Lamont Hill got shook.
Oh,
I don't think he knew.
I know Mark Lamont Hill was just like, this is the most misogynistic interview I've ever done.
No,
I was like, we've been
certain
here, Mark.
people
What happened
really
to
don't
you?
know who certain people are. Like, there are people that work or they travel the same circles that they believe the facade or they believe, who these people want them to believe they are. And when they see something that's contrary, you're paralyzed, like Mark Lamont Hill, who's extremely intelligent. I've met him.
I know. He was just like, I should have ended this interview sooner. Yeah.
That would have been should have been an interview that got him fired. He should have still had his job. That should have been an interview that got him
fired. Right.
All right. Let's move on.
All I have to say is that he speaks to a certain time. He gives views of a certain period of time. You
think he's coherent?
His history must be respected.
That's my point about
the way he it's not for I don't know how to describe it.
Neither does he.
Is not common language. He does not use very common language. He's not politically correct at all.
No, he uses that 1895 language.
He gives insight on a specific decade of time.
And had the gall to be called a judge.
Okay, I'm gonna let it go.
I'll
let it go.
I mean, here's the thing. Back to the old thing. You never know. You might think he's
when he speaks. Like,
school me, Jill, because he might. I respect.
Here's the thing. I'm not trying to be old-fashioned with young girls. Like, don't go to somebody's hotel room. At least keep your eyes open. Be alert. Don't get drunker before. There's other little tricks of the trade, whatever. This is how it goes. I'm sorry. I didn't make the world. I didn't make the rules. I'm not, you want to, But Joe Brown would be the type, like, you go, oh, let me walk you to your hotel room, Grandpa, or whatever, in your own. And this is like, he's from, you have to address people from where they are sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's where the read is wrong. You know, like, you go, this man will try to take his cane and stick and beat the hell out of me and rape me or something. But you got to always come from where the room is. We are not teaching young women how to read the room. That maybe that's it.
And I do have a Bill Cosby story. I work for Amtrak, and I used to work in the VIP lounge, and I was privy to meet a lot of people in there. And a couple of the older women, I met Dick Gregory before he passed and all that stuff or whatever. And we were talking about Bill Cosby, and I was like, wow, I never got a chance to meet him before, you know, his downfall and all that stuff. And they were like, oh, we knew it because he used to hit some of my coworkers on their butts.
Yeah.
And I was like, he did what?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, even in a public company, he didn't own it. It had nothing to do with the entertainment industry. Like, he was still creepy.
Wow.
He was still part of the creep squad. Bill Cosby was creepy in front of people he considered that probably would not have any effect on his fortune or his reputation. But I bet you that Felicia Rashad never saw him with that type of behavior.
Right.
So
like, I believe he was different people in different rooms.
Before we go to our next conversation piece, BLPR says, how is Joe different from Bill Cosby? Is he?
Talking about Joe Biden?
No, Judge Joe Brown.
Are you asking about Biden or Joe Brown?
No, Joe Brown.
They're two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. But the thing is, Joe Brown, just look at his tweets. He's like you know, you feel like you just went into that TV show Quantum Leap and time traveled back. And you're in the 1940s. You're like, holy crap. And it's always so divisive, and he doesn't really have great solutions for things. They're old, antiquated concepts. Some maybe, you know, like keep your change purse closed. Maybe that's helpful, but the rest of it.
Okay, let's move on. We got two more to go through. Next up, and this story has developed over the last few days. Sha'Carri Richardson loses the opportunity of a lifetime for a failed drug test. So, if anyone doesn't know who she is, she's a very, very, very talented sprinter for the U.S. Olympic team. And during the U.S. Olympic trials, she just won everything. But it was now found out that she tested positive for marijuana during the trial. So at first, the U.S. Olympic team banned her from the Olympics in the sprinter category for the 100 meters. Now as of today, she wasn't even included on the team. So she's not even going to the Olympics, period. The best case scenario would have been she would have been at least able to run for the relay team, but now nothing. So as of today, she's not going anywhere. She said that during the time she was tested, she was going through a tough time because her mother had passed away, et cetera, et cetera. Ladies, what do you think about this one?
I'm not watching the Olympics.
Yeah, they're canceling Black people left and right. Like they did the whole team from Africa.
The swim cap controversy.
Yeah. And Simone doing the new twist, you know, and then they
don't want her to do that.
It wasn't fair to the other girls. So yeah, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah,
either.
Definitely not tuning in just due to the mass, you know, discrimination against know, women, us. Yeah,
they're trying to cancel Black Girl Magic.
They are.
I got my.
They're trying hard, but they will not succeed.
My dashiki says Black don't crack, so we're not cracking under this pressure. And it's just like a mounted assault. I mean, honestly, and I think because of the attention that she garnered when she won, when she got that fast time, broke that record, or whatever the case may be, you know, with her long nails, her orange hair, and all the support that she garnered from the community. I just feel that the Olympics in their policies or in their I don't know, in their assault on us, it's okay if you don't want to win. That's on you. Because
what would they be without the us in the Olympics? I want to know.
No, I mean, but
I really wanna
wait,
know.
can't they go back and take Bruce Jenner's things
why would they
from
do
him?
that? They would have the
Because-
LGBTQIA element.
But
of
yeah, I
becoming
mean,
aspect.
he was not really who he said he was when he ran, and he wasn't in the right event. He should have been in the women's stuff. There's a couple of men who got shortchanged out of having their trophies, as far as I'm concerned.
Michael Phelps hit a bong later, but guess what? That doesn't mean if he did that later, he was doing it during.
Right. I mean,
that was the next thing I was going to say.
When she smoked weed, it was legal. She knew what she did something that it wasn't garnered by the Olympic rules. So she left
hold on
herself
though. But it's now they got to make a differentiation between the U.S. Olympic Committee and the Olympics. So it's the U.S. Olympic Committee that has banned her.
it's the U.S. one, not the Tokyo,
the
right?
Olympics.
Or the over there.
Yeah. So it's more on the U.S. Olympic Committee in regards to that.
Okay, well, we already established the United States of America and what that stands for and what it equates.
That's okay. They're going to lose if they don't have any of us over there. I mean, it would be really amazing.
I'm not watching.
Yeah, and they are for the network stuff because that was your star. It's like whoever, whatever she had, her attorneys, that was a story, and that one was huge. Because I want to know every single body who fails a test, even if they were not even being included. I want to know. I mean, we're talking about a country that got duped by freaking Lance Armstrong for how many years?
Yeah.
How many years? And y'all have the audacity to talk about weed? Go, you know what, yourself.
In my Allen Iverson voice, we talking about weed?
Yeah.
Weed?
Yeah, where you can buy hemp or CBD oil. There's so many ways of, at this point, give me a break. Tell me how many of them are on psychotropic drugs. And if they lose their luggage and they don't get them, who's going to go freaking crazy in Japan?
And
I mean, tell me.
Maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist, but they did not want her being the face of the American team Olympics. They did not want her being the face of it.
No, I know. They saw that story coming down the pipeline.
They didn't want her being the face of it any more than they wanted FloJo, 30 years ago.
Interesting comparison.
Well, they've started railing against Barry and then her, and it's been one black woman after another. It's just going to get worse. They're just going to find somebody else.
So Black Beauty is saying that she was on Good Morning America this morning, and I love her energy. She admitted she shouldn't have smoked, and she said she still continued to pursue her dream / Olympics.
Oh, she's going to get her endorsement. She doesn't need to do this whole rickety row Olympic thing. For what? A Wheaties box? Who gives it? The reality is she's going to make her money. If not, she's already been contacted because the reality is this was the best thing that happened to her. Mm-hmm. To be honest with you, you can't take the endorsements when you're going and doing that. That tends to come later. But let me tell you something. She's probably sitting on a couple $100 million contracts right now. Just waiting.
Yep.
Yeah, Nike stood behind her, but maybe Michael Jordan may even make her a Team Jordan person after that. But it's just like I'm just waiting to see what the chips fall. But like I said, the biggest loser in this is not going to be her. It's going to be the Olympics because, like I said,
well, they're doing her like they did Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, the big thing would have been her going against the Jamaican sprinters because that's the biggest rivalry in women's sprinting is the Jamaicans versus the Americans.
And
go Jamaica.
Yeah, and as far as I know, we might just be looking at third place, maybe bronze.
No, we're not racing. I said go Jamaica. Jamaica should take all 3 places.
I know. Jamaica is ridiculous, those runners. So
there you go.
I don't know.
All right. Well,
okay. He's like, there you go.
Look, I'm rooting for everybody black.
Like
Issa Rae. I'm rooting for everybody black.
All right, so we've got to our final part of our conversation. This episode's cockroach. So disparaging video prompts of explosive fallout within ESPN. For those who do not watch sports, ESPN is the #1 sports network in America. Let me repeat that. The #1 sports network in America. Now, over the weekend, the tweets were flying, social media was flying in regards to two individuals, Maria Taylor, who is let me go first. Rachel Nichols has been with ESPN, I think, for about 20 years.
Over 20 years.
Over 20 years. White lady, hosts a program on the ESPN called The Jump, which is their 1 hour program on the NBA. Been doing it for a while, but she's been with the network a long period of time. Then we have, Rachel's about 47, 48 years old. Then there is not Rachel Nichols, Maria Taylor. Let me get that straight. Rachel Nichols, been with ESPN for 20 years plus, 48 years old, very well established.
White lady.
But paid her dues.
Paid her dues, big time. Then you have Maria Taylor, young Black woman, about 33 years old, been with ESPN about, I'd say, 4 to 5 years, and one of their stars. A lot of people comment she did stuff with football, all different sports, one of their media stars. So last year, when certain events like George Floyd's killing happened, ESPN made a move to increase her profile, to have her replace Rachel Nichols' spot on ESPN, because Rachel Nichols was a sideline reporter. Now, there was a audio recording made where Ms. Nichols did not like that. Basically saying that Ms. Taylor was not establishment, and the only reason that she was in the position was because she was Black, and the network was just doing it to look good. The tape came out. Maria Taylor heard it. Rachel Nichols tried to apologize. Ms. Taylor has not responded at all. Now, add some more to the story. Maria Taylor's contract is up for renegotiation. Her contract expires on July 22nd, which is 2 days after the NBA season completes. Now, an interesting fact, Ms. Taylor reportedly is asking for $5 million a year, which make her one of the top paid people at ESPN. Just adding on to that. Now, as of today, more to this story. Rachel Nichols has been pulled off of all coverage for the NBA Finals.
She has?
Yes,
yes.
Her
they
jump
pulled her
did
off?
not come on today.
She's
jump
pulled.
did not come on today.
As she should.
She was
As she
replaced for the
should.
final.
As she should.
Yeah.
But look what that took, because at first they did not punish her. They only punished the Black lady who gave Maria the video.
Right. So Rachel Nichols, they were going to say, and she wasn't going to be at first she was doing the in studio, then she was going to be doing the sideline reporting. They have pulled her totally off. Rachel Nichols apologized yesterday. Now it's interesting. She has 2 co-hosts on The Jump, Black men. One Kendrick Perkins, another gentleman named Richard Jefferson.
How's that work?
They basically supported Ms. Nichols, saying that she's a good person, etc., etc. So with all this stuff going on, this is an incredible story, and I want to hear what you ladies think about this story, but also in the fact that earlier on you were talking about white women, Black women, white women not really supporting the plight of Black women, and this is a very high-profile situation. And is this reflective of what you think is going on between the relationship between white women and Black women?
I think that it exposes exactly what I was speaking about earlier. It exposed Rachel Nichols, who I have watched for years, and I've been a fan of her as a woman in media in the basketball world, personally. But on first glance, the way I look at it, as anybody who has fought for their spot in their arena, in their dream and their purpose, you've made it to a certain stature. You're not going to want to be replaced. and you've worked really hard. Like for me, like as a writer, if I get to a certain level of my field or a certain level of acclaim, and there's a new up and coming individual, but you have to look at the whole scope of ESPN with Jemele Hill being fired basically and getting a settlement because of her comments, First Amendment covered against Trump, but she was forced out of the company. And other Black women in that industry, Carrie Champion left, who was also a very astute personality, beautiful, knowledgeable, savvy, and possibly a friend of Rachel Nichols. So for me, I'm looking at it, trying to figure out who's team who. That Maria is the new up and coming pretty girl face, only a couple of years. And it's like she's an outsider, not because she's Black, but she's not one of Rachel's friends that came up in the ranks with her. Like, who is this girl? Like, oh, I'm not having that. I can understand her fighting for her spot, but I think that she should have been way more wiser than she was, because to me, it was a plain setup, because they knew they wanted Maria in that spot. They sent somebody to record her, to get her and egg her on so that they can get exactly what they wanted. And I said it a few days prior, what was going to happen, and they should pay me because I was on point. Wow. And the cockroach should not be Rachel Nichols. It should be Adam Mendelsohn in the comments that he made, because if you listen to, there's one of the recordings I heard this morning where he's piggybacking. You could tell he's agitating her to get her to do these things, because he even talked about, she said that, it was because of ESPN's crappy diversity. That, they need to get their point someplace else. And he goes on to say he's exhausted of the Me Too and between Black Lives Matter and Me Too. He's exhausted. So he needs to be held accountable more so than her or the Black girl that sent her that, because that upset me, because I'm about to follow him and troll him.
Right. And the other thing about Mendelsohn is that Marie had to report to him. That's the other sad part about him saying this, is that she had to report to him about producing segment.
Yeah.
So imagine having to report to someone
he was stirring the pot.
And he was.
You have to consider the it's the entertainment industry. It's journalism. Look at Fox. They have a whole conveyor belt of new blonde hair, blue-eyed people coming, and a younger model every 5 minutes.
Sure.
So it's just like you have to consider the business that you're in.
Right.
Rachel Nichols, however, she's knowledgeable and she's well respected. Honey, they going for what's pleasing to the eye. We're talking about men in sports, and you're not the candy that's going to get the ratings.
So just to jump in, for people who don't know who Adam Mendelsohn is, he's a longtime advisor of someone named LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So there's
but he was playing both ends
like
against the middle, as far as I'm concerned.
Get him out of his circle.
Yeah, I think he played both ends against the middle, and they want to make it a racial thing, but this woman, isn't her mother-in-law like Diane Sawyer? I'm sure there are nights around a table that you learn from other people, that no matter what business you're in, if you see somebody coming in, see, men do this a lot. They'll bring in somebody to leverage things, to whatever. All of this it's so orchestrated, and I really feel like they should have kept it quiet. It was more of an internal thing, I personally feel. And it seems like everybody doesn't know how to have these conversations. Don't they have NDAs? Like, why are you trying this whole thing out publicly? Adam Mendelsohn?
Well, because the tape released. The tape got released, and the tape is a year old.
Yeah, it was actually put on ESPN servers, and someone got
on. Let's be honest, they probably did want to have a black face on the thing, because it was the George Floyd thing. Yeah. When that's really true. Let's just be honest. They're not doing stuff. We heard ExxonMobil saying, yes, we're for climate change, but in the meantime, going back behind everybody's back and trying to create more fossil fuel catastrophes. Mm-hmm. So they all double speak. It's like the guy who they make donations, and yet they make a donation somewhere else too to cancel out the $5 million they just put over here. That's what this is.
But at the end of the day, this episode's cockroach really is ESPN.
Yes.
Because ESPN created the situation.
Why is there only going to
for
be
this
one
to happen.
woman? Why can't there be a lot of us?
Exactly.
Why can't there be more than one?
For this to happen, they did not handle it well when it did come out. They are still going to be in the hot seat, seeing what Marie's contract is going to be. It's up in 3 weeks. And then they're going to have to deal with Rachel, who's suing, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, she's going to sue and get her payout.
Yeah,
She's going to
yeah. So ESPN is really this episode's cockroach because they bungled this whole entire
Oh
thing.
yeah.
I don't think they bungled it. I think this is what they wanted to force her out because they couldn't have gotten her out any other way other than a scam.
Yeah.
Are you saying they wanted Rachel Nichols out?
Yes. That has been the plan. Yes, that has been a plan to get her replaced because she was not going to go quietly in the gentle of the night. She was not.
No, not after those years of getting to that position.
She wasn't. Yeah. They have been priming this girl, Maria, and possibly even promising her that spot.
Yeah. ESPN is definitely they're in a bad situation,
right? Because
just due to the culture that they promote.
Because
it's just misogynist and it doesn't allow other women.
How they handled her because of the climate, because of the way they've handled other minority women, they have to give something or they're going to be a sinking ship.
Yeah.
So they're doing this to survive, and she wasn't going to make it easy on them because she wants her piece of the pie that she's earned.
Yeah. Even though she had a piece of the pie, it still doesn't excuse the language.
Oh no! I'm all for the language. But her language wasn't as damning as Adam Mendelsohn. She was trying to be careful on what she said. So you can tell and that to me was the damning thing of her, the way she chose her words.
Exactly. And don't you think someone that's been in the industry for like 20 years would have a little bit more tact on how they explain?
No, because she didn't know she was being recorded. That was the other part. That was the other part. She did not know she was being recorded.
Of that caliber that she'll have with Adam Mendelsohn. So they know. That's why I said ESPN used him to get what they wanted. They know if you're the corporation, you know who sits around the cooler together. So they've had conversations before together of those same magnitudes and calibers about those same people. And he recorded that one time because I think he was asked to, or maybe somebody overheard something.
There's a reason that conversation was recorded, and she did not know it was recorded because she obviously
was purposely released.
Yeah. And she obviously felt comfortable. She obviously felt comfortable saying what she said.
Very comfortable.
So she gets a bigger side eye from me than Felicia Rashad. Bigger. Because I've been a fan of this person. Like she had me fooled like Trump had a lot of other people fooled. I'm not even gonna hold you. Like I would have never thought of her in that way. That she would even get caught up in something like that because she just doesn't seem like one of those people. But these people are very calculated of hiding their truth or how they feel.
Jill, you're on mute, by the way.
I'm on mute?
No, Jill. I was. It's like just don't mess with her money or come for her position.
But they all do that. You're in the entertainment, you're on TV. There's somebody always going to bring in somebody else that is younger, that is more this, that. Maria, for the money that she wants, she's worth it because she's more than just basketball. She's
like a Joan Crawford to Maria's Bette Davis. They've really done some crazy stuff.
But that's why ESPN is in a real bad bind here. Because if she is reportedly asking for $5 million a year, that only there are very few people at ESPN that are making that kind of money. And there were longtime members of ESPN that got let go because they wanted to cut. There's one just a Kenny Mayne, been with that ESPN for years. They said either you take a 61% pay cut or to stay or you go. So I respect Maria Taylor. Yes. I to be honest, I don't think she should be getting $5 million. Certainly more than what she's getting now. Yes.
I disagree.
It's post-pandemic. She
I'm
asked for
iffy about that
$5 million.
because she what?
Post-pandemic,
No,
she comes in with $5 million. It's crazy.
But you know what though? For the work that they want her to do,
She
I
should.
think
Yeah,
she's not. I think that she's being reasonable.
yeah, I do too.
She
She knows
deserves
her
a
worth.
substantial amount of money.
She knows she's their rising star, and like I said, I do believe that in those back rooms, she has been promised certain things. So she has a certain level of confidence that somebody else coming up would not have to ask for.
I will say it's going to be interesting to see if they keep her.
Oh, they have to keep her.
No, they don't.
What about the
You
disparaging?
talking about Maria Taylor? Or was
You hold on a second. Everyone can be replaced.
So we talking about Maria Taylor?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they let her go. They don't re-sign her. I
think that this is ESPN's ploy to get rid of Rachel Nichols so that she gets that spot. Because Rachel Nichols, in essence, however she's knowledgeable and she's paid her dues, she's still a one-trick pony. She doesn't have the diversity, double entendre in that Maria Taylor has, because you can use her more. When people don't show up for this X, Y, and Z, she can fill in. So she wears more hat.
Good point. I just the because the $5 million, I'm just going from things I've read and don't
offered her $5 million and she denied that. Actually,
yes, that's what made I think she denied that. But the thing is, if she gets the $5 million a year, there's only 2 on-air personalities on ESPN that make more money: Stephen A. Smith and a gentleman is a Greenberg. I can't remember his first name. Mike Greenberg. Yeah. That's the old Scott. I think it's Greenberg. She would be the 3rd highest paid employee at ESPN.
Well, I think it's about time that a woman makes
that type of
money and enter that conversation. And I'm here for it. I say give her her bag. Jalen Vaughn said give her her bag.
Give her her bag.
Right.
Give her her
because it's disparaging when you are working. Just think about like any other job. You know, it's disparaging when you hear your colleagues speak of you in that nature. You don't think that affects her, you know, in the industry that she's in?
I think
she would bring a different take.
I hope she gets it, but I will not be surprised if they say no.
Dr. Bob, me and you are going to have this conversation, and I'm going to call you when it happens, because this was their ending anyway, to get Rachel Nichols out to replace her with her. It's not that she's asking for something. They promised her that spot and everything, and
they did.
Because ESPN, they have confidentiality and all these things in place for certain.
Well, it's not ESPN. It's Disney.
Oh, put it this way.
Well, that's what happened to ESPN when Disney took over.
But
put it this way.
When Disney took over, something changed.
Yeah, put it this way. If she's asking for it, she knows that it is in their realm of giving it to her. She's not going to ask for something that they're not willing to give her. She's smart. She's that smart.
And did she make the tape come out? Because it sounds like it's more advantageous for her to have gotten this tape released than for Rachel.
No.
Well, I think it's more advantageous for ESPN if they want Rachel out.
It's something to think about.
Like, who leaked it is the thing.
ESPN got Mendelsohn to get that on tape because they know the conversations that
a news the Daily Mail or something? So, one of those news sites.
And Maria wasn't in on it.
No.
Okay.
I'm telling you, Rachel Nichols was very good at hiding this part of herself.
Yeah.
So I don't think she would have let that Black woman know how she really felt.
That's true.
I'm pretty sure, just like a longtime fan, it was just like.
I haven't heard the whole tape. I guess I'm going to have to go listen to it.
Yeah.
But, I just feel like that's their way of ushering her out.
As I said, I hope she gets it. If she doesn't, I won't be surprised if they let her go. But I do listen to 1 or 2 people on ESPN, and there's a gentleman who I listen on there who I really respect, a Black gentleman. And as he says, Dr. Vibe, he told me a while ago, the more I know, the less I understand. So I just leave it at that. Ladies, we have come to the end of this epic conversation. Well done.
Nice combo.
Yes,
Well
nice.
Well done. So before we let everyone go, and there's still lots of people watching live. Kudos, folks. Kudos. So first up, before we let everyone get some good rest, we're gonna just highlight each person and ask where they can be reached at. So first up, author Angie. Well done. How can people get in contact with you?
Well, on Instagram, I'm at official author Angie. Follow me, subscribe. I have a lot of upcoming shows and interviews coming up. Just follow me, and that's where you can find me.
Okay, that is beautiful. Next up, Birdie Lynn. You didn't say much, but I know you had a good time.
Hey. Hey, I'm a good listener, and I love you guys' takes. I definitely give my little 2 cents every now and then. I'm Lauren Joyce, and I am the podcast host of the Birdie Lynn Brandon podcast, also seen and heard on Foodie TV, where we discuss business, life, Nashville lifestyle, and music. So just come catch me on Instagram at Birdie Lynn TV or Birdie Lynn, or just, hit me up on Facebook, Birdie Lynn Podcast. Look forward to seeing you.
Wonderful. Next up, our new voting poll mandate.
Jill D. Jones. You can find me at Twitter, Instagram, Jill Jones Music. And I'm going to get my poll. You think I'm kidding? Wait till I get my outfit together for that day.
I don't want to know what you're going to be wearing that day. There's something up with that too. That's a whole other conversation.
No, I can't wear paraphernalia. I can't look like, I'm for either side, I think. But I'm thinking like I'm already going to plan for that. Some good shoes.
You can always wear what you wore in the video for 1999.
Oh, right. I'm going to wear some clogs on my feet because I love my clogs.
Okay. Absolutely. And of course, Aisha K. Staggers hanging out in South Carolina.
Yeah, you can find me. I know. I'm actually about to go hang out. I'm not even about to go to sleep. You can find me at Aisha Staggers on Twitter, causing trouble. Good trouble.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I'm glad you said because we know the kind of trouble that Jill causes, right?
Yep.
No.
And every now and then I have to get involved in Jill's trouble.
Oh.
It's so funny. I'm not to cut you guys off, but I know that my husband was doing like a job interview, and I could overhear him like talking to somebody. And I guess they had something like asking questions like what, something that you need to, like sometimes they want like things that aren't work, a personal story. And I heard him like, yes, I remember we went to a concert and my wife jumped up on the table. And I was like, and
did he get the job?
Yeah. So
okay, there we go.
Yeah, no, I think that's looking good actually. But I actually laughed about it because I was like, oh my God. It was like, well, they wanted something like a personal, how something was resolved or whatever. It's like,
life in Jill's household. There's a reality show in the making. All right, everybody. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner, given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, once a month, I host the only online conversation in the world for dads and fathers, sponsored by Dove Men Care, and also co-sponsored by DAD, Central Canada's national fatherhood organization. And I am the the board chair for the Global Food and Drink Initiative, which is a multimedia not-for-profit that showcases Blacks in the diaspora that are doing their thing in food, wine, and travel. Love to say epic conversation. Hopefully we can have Angie and Birdie Lynn back on a regular basis because the audience enjoyed them. Like to thank Jen, Black Beauty, Christina, Christy White, Cinema Canela, Just Jazzy for You, BLPR, and anyone else, if I didn't say your name, it's because of my head, not my heart. So I'd like to say thank you so much for an epic conversation tonight. And as always, I end off with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim wider, aim higher. Love, faith, and respect, and remember to give yourselves grace. God bless, peace be well, keep the faith, and we'll be back this Saturday. This was a special event because we were on the Tuesday, but every conversation is special. And please, if you have any conversation topics, please reach out to us and subscribe to the Dr. Vibe YouTube channel. All the replays are there of all the epic conversations I've done for the last number of years. Good night, everybody. Be well, and thanks again.